Good afternoon. My name is Michael Wright with Plus 65 Advisors. One of the things that we get to do every day is help seniors with their health and their wealth and preserving that through their Medicare. But it's always really kind of neat for us because we get to interact with other people in the industry. So today I'm joined by Angela Decoteau with Estate Law Solutions. And what we try to do in our business is connect people in our industry where we can help them continue, because help them beyond what we do. So, we've got Angela in the studio today to kind of talk about what she does. Part of the interesting thing about her situation is, she can tell you a little bit about her history and how she got in the business, but she has a personal story that kind of got her into the estate planning. And I'm going to kind of open it up with that and introduce Angela and ask her, kind of tell us a little bit about your story, like what's your background, how did you get into the business, and how did you kind of take that track?
Thank you, Michael. Thanks for having me. So my story goes way back when I was a little girl in Durham. My grandfather had inherited some property on the Mississippi River. And my grandfather had a desire to pass that property on to his children because land was so valuable to a farmer. It was a company. It was something that produced an income for people. It meant stability. It meant clout. It meant many, many things. My grandfather went to a professional, got a piece of paper, and that one piece of paper, when it was executed, destroyed my whole family. And when I look at my life and all of the time that I have available here on this earth, I think about what are the things that I could do here on earth. I mean, there's lots of options, right? I could have lots of careers. But the career I want is one that has purpose and meaning. And what happened to me is I saw the destruction of my entire family forever.
Yeah.
It never got mended, not once, not ever. I have aunts and uncles that went to their grave never talking to each other ever again. And we were a very close Cajun family.
Yeah.
We had fun. We got together at all of the events when there was a reason to get together. And even if there wasn't a reason, we made it up. And I felt that hurt. And I know what it feels like to have your family destroyed. And what I do is create a way for these families to stay together.
Yeah.
Because if that attorney had known what that attorney was doing, our family could have had preserved wealth. It could have preserved the harmony and the peace of my family. And that could have completely changed the history of our family forever.
Well, what specifically happened to cause that fracture? I mean, and how did you straighten that out?
It never got straightened out.
Yeah.
It was a will. My
Right.
grandfather received a will, and a will is, we know, a ticket to probate court. It wasn't created properly. My grandfather's story wasn't heard. And I think these things are important in now what I do, because the transfer of ownership of property, I mean, just getting property when you're living is a great blessing and a benefit to your life. The transfer of that property, whether it's cash or land or other things, it's important how you do it. And that professional who wrote that will didn't truly understand how to transfer that property properly to my grandfather's family.
Right.
And in the end, my grandfather paid money to ruin his family.
Yeah.
That's really what happened. Unfortunately, that happens a lot.
Well, many people think that, planning a trust is just about the wills, the money. But how do you explain what it really is all about? How do you what matters when you're dealing with that?
That is a big question. So whenever you are planning your estate and how that's going to plan out, what a lot of people do is they take a piece of paper, they fill in some blanks, and they hand it to you. Well, I'm completely shaking up the whole estate planning world. It's more than documents. It's hearing that story of that person. It's finding those friction points. What are you afraid of? Do you have that person in your family? Do you have these particular things that need to be protected a certain way? Do you have a particular person that maybe communication is broken? What is your entire story? That's what I want to know. Who do you trust?
Yeah.
I mean, we can't just say, well, who are your kids? Well, then all of your stuff needs to go to them, right? Well, not necessarily. It's who do you trust? Who do you want in charge? How are we going to avoid the friction points in the transfer of wealth from you to your living heirs? That's what proper estate planning is all about. It truly isn't just the documents. I mean, a notary can create paperwork. Notaries can create paperwork. They have the same ability to create paperwork as an attorney. That's a very scary thing, but they don't know the law.
Right.
It's a blend of the story of the client, Louisiana law, what is the client's fears, what are these options according to the law, and how we're going to navigate through these obstacles to get a smooth transition of assets. So think it's back to the story of my grandfather. Had he had a smooth transition of those assets, our family would stay whole. The wealth of our family would have remained in our family. Currently, that property is sitting in Darrow, and it's stuck. Nobody can buy it, nobody can probate it, and it is my lifelong dream to get the property cleared. But it's going to take a lot. No attorney would do it.
Yeah.
It's a mess right now.
Well, what are some of the common mistakes when retirees are trying to plan this? You know, because we're so used to trying to do everything online, do it ourselves. But obviously, we have the same problem. You know, when somebody's trying to get on Medicare and get their plan, we say, don't do it yourself because this is what we do. We don't, you know, we don't mind helping you. Let us make that transition good for you. Same thing on your end is, what are some of the common mistakes that the seniors make when they try to do it on their own or they try to do it online?
They go to someone cheaper, and cheaper doesn't mean better. You really do get what you pay for.
Right.
There's a lot of online options out there where you could create a trust, very nominal amount of money, and you could create it on your own. But it's this story that if you heard the story of the plumber who was called out to fix a problem, plant shut down, plumber comes up, he has this one little black bag, he has a hammer inside of it. He walks in, he goes to a particular pipe. He takes out the hammer, he hits on the pipe, he puts the hammer back into the purse, and he leaves. And he sends a $10,000 bill. And they ask, well, wait a minute, I want an itemized bill. And he says, okay, here's the itemized bill. Hammer, $1. Knowing where to hit, it's the balance.
No.
So, right, I can give you templates that will give you all of the questions that need to be asked in order to create a plan for you. And we'll get into later the type of plans that I particularly care for.
Yeah.
But I can give you all the software that I have, and you can use it, and you can push all the buttons. But it's not about the buttons. It's about knowing what to push.
How does a revocable living trust differ from a will? Tell us what's the difference there, and why do you kind of prefer that approach?
I 100% prefer that approach. There's a number of reasons why revocable living trust for the transfer of assets is such a better idea. Number one, your will is a ticket to probate court. So if you paid for a will, you're going to pay for probate. So you get two bills. So why do people sell other people a will? Because they're going to sell you twice. They're going to make money 2 times. Now, the trust completely avoids the probate process. So if you have that person, you have that broken communication, and you go, there's that one person in the family, we've all got them. Some of us are overachievers. We got a little bit more than one. But if you have that person in the family that's already kicked up some dust, already caused some disturbance, and there's a will, it goes to probate. Probate it's expensive, it takes time, and it's a public record. Everything you put in that record is public forever. I pulled my grandfather's probate right out the court records. No one asked for my ID. No one questioned a single thing. It is public record. So there's some things that are in the documents. There's your bank accounts, account numbers. There's all this, how much is in that account? There's VIN numbers of your car. There's legal description of property, and that stays public record. So there's a number of reasons. Some people say, hey, look, this is going to take too much time and money. I want to avoid that. Some people say, well, we have these people in our family. If this hits the courts, all hell could break loose. We don't know. These people can attack. I've seen people fight over the craziest things. And all hell breaks loose once it hits the court.
Yeah.
Then once it hits the court, the whole world knows what's at stake.
Yeah.
And then the whole world can say, hey, this is what we have. Let's fight that. A trust is private.
Well, how does proper estate planning help protect your retirement income and preserve that family peace and harmony? Because, we all hear about friends that, like your story, how the family's torn apart because the brothers and sisters are arguing over something that wasn't properly planned out or wasn't properly set in place. So how does estate planning kind of help avoid that?
Good estate planning will keep the harmony because it avoids the ambiguity. Anytime there's some foggy information in there and you're reading a sentence and going, does it mean this or does it mean that? Is it unclear? Did my estate planning attorney understand the obstacles that are out there in my way? And if they did they avoid it? We've got an unusual thing called forced heirship. Forced heirship requires you. It just, even if you have a will, it doesn't matter. If you have an attorney who doesn't know what they're doing, you are forced to give a percentage of your property to that child who's under that forced heir regulation. So if they're 24 years old or younger, if you don't have any children, you may have a grandchild. You may have a special needs child. They're going to remain forced heirs. You have to give them property if your estate planning attorney does not know what they're doing. So these type of planning processes can keep the peace and harmony. As a retired person, you definitely want to make sure that there's a smooth transition of your assets. If there's not a smooth transition and it goes through litigation, when I did contested successions, the first check the family wrote to us was $10,000. And that was the first check. There were going to be more. So you can see how very easily the judges, the attorneys, the courts would slowly etch out cash that you had preserved for your family. Oh, it took you a lifetime to save up. Now here you are retired. No more bringing in income, no more generating income. You want that wealth that you've acquired. It's a house, a car, and a nominal bank account. Doesn't matter. You want that transition to be as smooth and seamless as possible, because the smoother it is and the more seamless it is and the more you stay out of the courts, the less money your heirs are going to have to pay out of that money that you saved.
Well, it's important for us to help people coordinate their Medicare in a timely fashion, make sure they're all set with that, and any other insurance and other financial options they have. But, I assume that it's important to coordinate that with your estate planning because it kind of all needs to work together. Is there anything that you can see that kind of gets in the way if you don't plan it properly? What would you say is important to coordinate between the estate planning and the Medicare and your insurance and all those things together? Is there something you can point out that's really important or a reason why you'd want to make sure that you do coordinate those items?
Well, one thing is age. So you're working with a population that I work with.
Yeah.
So 55 and older. At that point in life, there's a lot of decisions that have to be made. When you're 65 or you're looking at Medicare options. So these people should have already gotten some particular parts of their estate in check. They should have already gotten powers of attorney. Do they have somebody that will be in charge for their health care or their finances? Should they become incapacitated? I mean, for a period of time, you may be incapacitated, but then you might get better. And at the age of 65 and older, these things are more statistically likely to happen. So you're planning on the insurance part. How can I get medical coverage? Mm-hmm. I'm planning on all the other parts of their estate as far as who's going to be in charge for incapacity, how are we going to transition their wealth to their heirs, what about are they married? In Louisiana, a community property goes to the kids. So that's another thing we have to look at. You don't want to go under Louisiana law. If you have nothing in place, Louisiana law is not your friend. Whether you're married or single, it's not going to be your friend. It was designed in 1895, and it was designed for people who were thinking different things that people think now. So it just doesn't fit. So in your realm, you're getting them ready for, okay, you have the right insurance, and in a way, you're preserving wealth as well, because you're helping people create their insurance plans with the least out of pocket that's going to match what their needs are medically.
Right.
How many times you go to, you ask the questions too. Right. Well, you have to know the story behind the person, just like me. And so I believe, because we're in the same demographic of people, we're looking at the person as a holistic individual. They have different needs. They have insurance needs. They have healthcare needs. They have estate planning needs. They have incapacity needs. They're going to need other things as well. So I also work with other people and other professionals because I'm a resource person for my clients, not just estate planning attorney.
Yeah, and that's we look at it that way because we've brought in people that are in the home healthcare industry. We try to connect up resources within our business because, obviously we don't do what you do and you don't do what we do. So if we can put those two together, because I can tell you many occasions I'll have a client and I'm a little concerned about their ability to maybe conduct business. And I'll always ask them, do you have somebody in your family helping you make decisions? And many times they're like, no, I'm doing it. And I get a little concerned and to the point where I almost feel like I need to reach out to a family member and say, I think this individual might be struggling with making these decisions. Can you kind of jump in here? But in our business, they have to have their power of attorney to be able to sign for them. And so we try to be really aware of who we're dealing with. And that's not most of the cases because we're dealing with people that are turning 65. They're still in the workforce. So it doesn't happen every day, but we have to be aware of, who we're dealing with and what capacity they have to make those decisions. And, I always wonder, like, when should somebody start making those moves in terms of preserving their wealth? When should they start looking at estate planning? Do you wait to the point where you're retired and you're just not, you're just ready to kind of get it all together? Or when should you start? When can you start?
As soon as you start accumulating wealth.
Right.
If you buy a house, that house is now going to be, and you're married, that house is now operating under Louisiana's community property laws, which would be a train wreck even for a young couple. I mainly focus on folks who are 55 and older. I would say anyone that has assets that are in their name. And I talk about that a lot in my workshops, but a lot of people don't understand what even is an estate. Once you have an estate, then Louisiana requires a process to transfer the things that you have to your heirs. And then what is an estate? It's anything with your name on it. Bank accounts, house, car, all of those things must be transferred. A lot of people don't realize you have $50 in a bank in Louisiana. It has to go through a process. The bank won't just write you a check.
So if say something happens to me today and I don't have that set up, and my wife goes to access the bank account, or the children go to do that, so you have to have something set up so it makes that process flow, so that they can get to that. Yeah. I think a lot of people just assume that it's all going to be okay when that day comes, and that their family can just say, hey, I'm his son and I want to get that money that's in there. And what are they going to tell them?
Tell them no.
And what happens to that money?
It goes to the state.
And how can the client or can the relative get that money back in some form or fashion? Or
they have to do a process. Yeah. It's called a succession in Louisiana.
Right.
It's filling out the right paperwork, putting that information down, going to the courts, file it properly in the proper courts, and it's a process. It would take time and it takes money.
Would you say that happens more often than not in your industry?
Yeah, there's a lot of misinformation, I would say, out there. Please don't, I hope that people listening here are not going to Google information.
Right.
I have clients that come to see me and then they go to Google, and Google gives them all sorts of things. There's lots of bad advice out there. I call this the time of misinformation.
Right.
We used to call this the time of information. There's lots of information overlap. There's so much information. Now it's disinformation is coming out. I do have a YouTube channel where people can go and get access to the right information and the right answers if they have particular questions about, well, what is a trust? What is a will? What is a power of attorney? Why would I need it? Those type of questions I can answer there.
Yeah. So you have a YouTube channel.
I do.
Good.
Yes,
well, at the end, we'll make sure that everybody has access to all your information to reach out to you. But often you talk about preventing that family conflict. Mm-hmm. What are some of the ways that a really well put together plan can prevent that? What do you suggest there?
So we've got the forced heirship option. There's the community property laws in Louisiana where your property would go to your children. Well, a well-crafted estate plan would, number one, avoid probate and those costs and delays. And number two, would transfer, maybe you want everything going to your spouse, right? It's not going to go to your spouse unless it's in a trust. Here's another misunderstanding that people have. They have it in a will and it's written down. And they say, well, I have a will. I don't need to do anything. It's written right here. See, I get the house.
Yeah.
No, you don't. That will now must go through the process. So many people misunderstand that what they have is going to cover them. Number one, is that will even valid? I have a whole list of wills that were created by attorneys. The worst ones were by notaries and financial advisors with a stamp. Yeah. Anyone with a stamp could create a document, put the stamp on it. It can be legal. Most of them aren't even valid. Is it even valid? Does it say the things that you need to say? Is it going to do the things you want to do? And then it won't avoid probate.
Right.
So the well-crafted one, the revocable living trust, I'm a huge fan of it. You create the trust, you fund the trust properly, and that trust will seamlessly transfer those assets. I mean, literally nothing. Nothing has to be done. Yeah. If a husband and wife have a trust and it's fully funded, then your beneficiaries, let's say at the end, husband, wife, this is our typical husband, wife, and then it's going to the kids. It's where the wife is alive, where the husband is alive, it's going to the other spouse, and then after both spouses are gone, it's going to the kids. That's very typical. Most people have that, not everyone, but that's typical. So let's say husband and wife get killed in a joint accident. That's 2 probates. That's 2 bills. That's 2 processes. You don't want to do that. I mean, both other scenario, my scenario, put it in the trust, fully funded. Both get killed in a car accident. Beneficiaries walk up to the bank and get a check. Wow. That makes it so much easier.
Look, I'm just gonna be transparent here, because I guarantee you that most people, I'm gonna say most people don't fully understand what the landscape is like when you're dealing with this. I know that I don't. So I know that it's in a very short period of time I need to come see you. But, do you have a particular situation that you can explain where there was a difficult situation, but with proper planning, it kind of made that transition really smooth? Is there something you can relate to us on that?
There's a lot of cases like that things just went so smoothly. My biggest stories are for blended families. Because again, in Louisiana, it goes to the kids, right?
Yeah.
But whose kids? In a blended family. So in
I
a
have
blended family.
I have a
Are you
blended- I have
blended
a blended
family? So do you
Sure.
have children?
I do.
You have biological or adopted
I do.
children. Does your spouse have biological that are not yours?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have children together?
No.
Okay. You bought a house together?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then we'll just do an interview with you then.
Yeah.
So you would be a very typical case for a
Yeah.
blended family. And I have a story like that, and I have a person, she volunteered to work for me because I helped her family. So how old are the kids? How old are your wife's kids?
The youngest is 29. I think I had it right. 29.
Okay.
And the oldest is 37. So they're all,
So no forced heirs.
they're 2 are married and 2 are not, but they're all working in their life. But, one of the things that, that conversations has been, well, my kids are great. They get along. Everybody loves everybody, but everybody loves everybody until something happens. Mm-hmm. So how does the irrevocable trust keep that from being a problem?
Well, first, okay, so then in your scenario, you're married, blended family, you have kids, spouse has kids from other relationships.
Right.
So statistically, you're going first. Well, let's kill you off. You're gone.
Come on. All right.
Your wife is now owner of the property.
All the property.
With who? Who else owns that property? After the succession is all done, let's just say you didn't come to me and you didn't do the right thing. All right. And so now your wife, now I'm cleaning up your mess.
I'm coming to you.
Yeah.
You got me scared now.
Yeah. Now, and then your wife's coming over to me to clean up the mess, and I get to make a lot of money off of your estate because you didn't come to me first. But who else owns that property? Do you know?
Do not.
Your kids own that property with her. They own your half as an owner of the property.
Okay.
She gets to use it. She gets to live in the house. Now, I'm going to tell you a scary story. I had a person that came to my workshop, lady. She said, look, Angela, and I offer opportunities for people to come and sit with me after the workshop. She said, I'm taking a tab. I'm going to come sit with you, but I don't need anything from you. But I want to give you my story, and I want you to tell people about it. Because this story is very unusual. Louisiana's laws, what I'm talking about is Louisiana's usufruct law. I hate that word. It's a dirty word. So let's say you're gone and one of your children is gone and your child has a couple of little infants. You got grandkids?
I do.
From your children?
From both sides.
Okay. Great. How old are they?
Twin boys that are 2 and a little girl that's almost 3.
Okay. So one of your children has set twins?
Yeah. No. Yes. Well,
Okay.
my stepson.
Okay. So what about your child? Your child
Daughter.
has your daughter.
My son has a daughter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Your son has a daughter.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then we're going to make this more fun. So you're gone, and you and your son were in the same car accident. Your son's gone too. And your granddaughter is 2, you said?
3, almost 3.
She's 3. Now who owns the property with your wife?
I have no idea.
Your 3-year-old. The 3-year-old and then your other. You had 1 child or 2 children from the
2.
other? 2. So your grown child and the 3-year-old grandchild.
Yeah.
That's going to make it even more fun.
Yeah.
Try to do your mortgage, reapply for the mortgage. You all had a mortgage whenever you were alive, and now you're gone. She wants to refinance. Can't do it. FEMA insurance, not happening
Yeah.
because she doesn't have clear title.
Man, this definitely makes it kind of messy. So I can.
Let me tell you the story. So let me go back to the story I was going to tell you about the widow lady that raised her hand and said, "I want you to hear my story." So this is usufruct law. It's weird. It's bizarre. It's made in the 1890s, and it doesn't fit for any of us here today, right? But it was designed to protect that living spouse, which historically was going to be the wife. Statistically, that's how it usually works out. Not always, but statistically. So it was designed to preserve that asset, which is going to be land, for mama. And mama was going to be taken care of by these children who now own dad's 50%. Mom gets to use it, everything. This poor widow came into my office and she said, "Angela, let me tell you what happened. My husband and I, we've been married for 30 years. He had kids from an outside relationship. I didn't have any children. And these were infants, toddlers. They never even knew their mom. They called me mom. I raised those kids. We were one big happy family." I said, "Okay, great. What happened?" "My husband died tragically, suddenly, completely unexpected. We had nothing." I said, "Okay, Louisiana had you back, right? Louisiana's got a plan for you. If you don't have a plan, you're going under Louisiana's plan." And that's what happened to her. Her husband had 2 kids, adults living their lives, doing their thing. Mom was going through a horrible, horrible time of emotion because of losing her husband so tragically. Now she must go through the process of a succession, probate. It's fine. Kids find out. Kids, all of a sudden, demand mama to give them their portion, which I didn't think you could do that. An attorney sued her and won. She lost her family, she lost her wealth, and she lost her health. She said her doctors are telling her she will die of the diseases she acquired due to the stress that was, because she had 3 years litigation with the children that called her mom. Oh my gosh. What can go wrong if you don't have a good estate plan? You don't want that to happen. A lot. I'm so shocked now that this can happen. I'm so thankful that this lady came to me. I can't fix that.
Yeah.
I cannot undo what the damage has been happened. But what I can do, now let's reverse it. Let's say dad had a trust, fully funded. And that's what happened to one of my clients. She blended family. She raised these kids. She knew there was a little bit discontent, but they all got along. Everybody got along. They talked. Communication wasn't so broken that maybe they hadn't talked to people in years, and you got those too. We have to navigate around. Her husband, same scenario, but this was a client of mine. Same scenario. Husband got blended family. They did have 1 child together in this other scenario. They came to me. We got a trust, fully funded. Husband died completely unexpectedly, tragically. She's going through, again, the trauma of the emotion of being the one who found her husband. So that's going on. My client, you know what she did to get access to her estate that belonged to her husband, the community property? You know what she did? Not a thing. Not a single thing. As I asked her, did you go get different checks? Nope. Did you need to? Nope. Did you sell things? Yes. Did you acquire new things? Put them in the trust? Sure did.
It's because she had the trust.
Because she had the trust.
Right.
Did his kids begin to stir up some fuss about certain things? They did. And she said, so? I'm the sole trustee. They
Yeah.
couldn't get at the assets. They could have taken her to court, but how would they take her to court? A trust is private.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what's
Yeah.
in it except the trustees.
Well, I assume the point to all this is to create the trust in a way that it does satisfy everybody, or tries to satisfy, but it keeps it where there's not a lot of ambiguity in terms of what happens.
Correct.
Because that's kind of that's where my mind would go, is if it's in writing and if it's well documented and it's planned out. I mean, hopefully everybody kind of knows in advance. Maybe this is what's going to happen. If this event occurs, here's kind of what you get, and here's how it works. And that's my naive self saying maybe that's the way it works. But if somebody's watching and they want to get started on their estate planning, they haven't done anything, what's the first thing they should do, and when should they reach out to you?
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Now.
Okay. Yeah.
Right now. Call. Call my number, 225-647-8502.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. A notary can create documents. Other attorneys can create documents. But you want to find an attorney who knows what they're doing. I'm more than just the documents. This is my passion. This is my purpose in life.
Yeah.
What is my purpose? I want to make a positive dent in the universe. I want to, every client who comes to me, their family's going to stay whole. All of us have heard the story that someone died and now everyone's fighting. We've all heard it. How common is that?
Yeah.
How important is it to have a good estate plan? You want an attorney who knows what they're doing, that has some passion for families. Are they just a paper pusher? Are they just going to get a check and give you a piece of paper that might be valid in the state of Louisiana? Is there ambiguity in it? Is it clear language? Have they navigated around those obstacles and those friction points? Have they done all these things? I guarantee. Probably not.
Yeah. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that I'm going to say most people, I don't even know what the percentage is, but I'm going to say there's probably a good percentage of people that feel like that I have everything in place, I have a will, and everything's going to be good. And, based on what you're talking about, I think there's a little bit more to it than that.
There's a lot more to it. I mean,
yeah.
People they say, oh, I know this attorney, a family friend. That's what happened to my grandfather.
Yeah.
He trusted a family friend, but that's not what this attorney did.
Right.
It was look, I could do brain surgery too. I mean, I could do lots of things, right? But it's not going to be good.
Yeah.
Just because I have a law license doesn't mean a person has a law license doesn't mean they can create a great estate plan for your family. They are empowered by the state of Louisiana to create legal documents. So are notaries. So is anyone with a notary stamp can create these documents. But what you want is an attorney who really knows what estate planning is all about. And so if you have an attorney that is going to do your personal injury, he's going to take care of your divorce, and oh, by the way, let me get this piece of paper for you, and passes it to you. That's not a plan.
Yeah. So I imagine that one of the, I guess, biggest benefits we could offer to our clients is, maybe asking that question. Have you done your estate planning? Have you done that? Mm-hmm. I'm going to say most of them are going, no, I'm not yet. Because we're all in a rush. We're all busy working and living life. And that's one of those things where you never think something's going to happen, that I'm going to need that. So I think that, this has given me a different perspective, because when we meet with our clients, we always ask them, hey, do you have your life insurance? Do you have your annuity set? We ask those questions, but it kind of stops right there. We stop right there because that's where our knowledge stops. But now you've given us a different perspective is beyond that. even though we can't do what you do, we can say, but if you need this, we can point you in a direction of somebody that does do that. Same thing we do when somebody comes to us and they want financial planning advice. That's not what we do. Mm-hmm. But we have partners in the industry that if somebody really wants to reach out and do that, we can say, hey, go see this person and tell them what you need, and we trust them, because that's kind of how we work in the referral part of the business. Is we try to find partners that do the things that we can't do, to kind of give it a holistic approach to our customers. So I'm glad we had you in today. I've learned something. I will be calling you in the near future because I feel like I'm way behind in that, because again, you get so busy living life. That's the piece that you kind of don't think about. We all know that one day you're going to need it. So definitely we want to make sure people know how to reach out to you. Again, it's Angela Decoteau with Estate Law Solutions. If you look on the screen, you'll see her phone number. And repeat that number again.
225-647-8502.
And what about your email, if they want to email you?
If they want to email me, I'm notorious for not checking my email, but you can email me at angela@estatelawsolutions.com.
Okay. So try the number first.
Yeah, try the number. That you're more likely to get someone.
Great.
Go to my website. It's estatelawsolutions.com.
Okay.
There are blog posts on there. You can read it and get information. There should be a link to the YouTube channel. If not, you can go on to my YouTube channel. It's also under Estate Law Solutions. Right. And find the right information you need to make the proper decision. Great.
Angela, thanks so much for informing our people watching that are in our business, and our customers. Hopefully they're seeing this and got some value out of it. Thanks.
Thanks for having me.
Hope you enjoyed our discussion today on Plus 65 Digital. Reach out to us at info@plus65advisors.com or give us a call at 225-408-4100. Make Plus 65 Advisors part of your Medicare process.